Hi there, and welcome to this day in history for March 5th. March 5th is the 64th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, unless it's a leap year, and then it's the 65th day of the year, with 301 days remaining to the end of the year. Right now we're looking at tosspot words. Tosspots are words coined by combining a verb and a noun, like spitfire, shunpike, scofflaw. In order for a word to be a tosspot word, the noun has to be the object of the verb. So shut-eye is a tosspot word, but shut-in is not. Today's word is scrapegut, and the meaning of it is fiddler. How do you come by that? Well, it is that traditionally violin strings were made of catgut, which is gut or intestines of actually a sheep or a goat, not cats. The word scrapegut is a jocular, that means humorous, or contemptuous reference to a violinist, as if scraping the strings. Earliest documented use of this term is 1837. I'd like to take a moment to remind you that links to my research are included in the show notes, and ask you to go ahead and click that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure and stay to the end for outtakes, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And with that, we're going to start in the year 1616, when Nicholas Copernicus's book on the revolutions of the heavenly spheres was added to the Index of Forbidden Books, 73 years after it was first published. The religion of the day couldn't tolerate science that conflicted with the dogma, even something so simple as the earth revolving around the sun instead of vice versa. In 1836, Samuel Colt patented the first production model revolver, the .34 caliber. On March 5th, 1839, Charlotte Brontë wrote a letter to Reverend Henry Nussey declining his offer of marriage. She said that he would find her romantic and eccentric and not practical enough to be a clergyman's wife. And she should know, because her father was a clergyman. English actor Rex Harrison was born on March 5th, 1908. My favorite roles of his are Henry Higgins in My Fair Lady and Dr. Dolittle in Dr. Dolittle. He lived to the age of 82. David Dunbar Buick was born in Scotland in 1854 and came to America with his family when he was a little boy. Growing up, he worked in the plumbing business and developed a successful process for bonding porcelain enamel to cast iron bathtubs. Later on, he became interested in automobiles and founded the Buick Motor Company. This attracted the attention of an investor named William Durant. In 1904, the Buick Motor Company built 37 cars, which were known as the Model B. Before 2 years were out, though, David Buick had lost control of his business and sold his stock. In 1908, William Durant went on to make the Buick automobile the cornerstone of his new company, General Motors. Durant went about collecting other car companies to add to his stable, Cadillac, Oldsmobile, and so on. The Buick brand played a key role in General Motors' success through the years and is currently one of the auto industry's oldest nameplates. After selling his interest in the company, David Buick tried his hand at a series of ventures that just didn't work out all that well for him. Eventually, he moved back to Detroit, where he worked menial jobs. He died in obscurity and meager circumstances on March 5th, 1929, at the age of 74. On March 5th, 1933, Adolf Hitler's Nazi Party received 43.9% at the Reichstag elections, which allowed the Nazis to later pass the Enabling Act and establish a dictatorship. Winston Churchill first coined the phrase Iron Curtain in a speech on March 5th, 1946. If you're a regular viewer of my This Day in History series, you might remember that the other day we mentioned that Joseph Stalin had a stroke, or a cerebral hemorrhage. And it is that on March 5th, 1953, he went ahead and died from that. And this is me not saying not a moment too soon. Some may like to remember him as the man who saved Soviet Union from Nazi domination, but it seems he saved the Soviet Union for his own domination, turning out to be the mass murderer of the century, responsible for deaths of 8 to 20 million of his own people. It's difficult to pin down a firm number because many of these deaths occurred as a result of collectivism, famine, terror campaigns, disease, war, and mortality rates in the Gulag. Since these are not what you could actually call direct killings, the exact number of victims of Stalinism is difficult to calculate, but trust me, it's a lot. On March 5th, 1963, the hula hoop was patented. This was a large plastic ring-like device, probably about 3 feet across, that one could keep afloat by swiveling the hips to employ centrifugal force. I really thought it came out earlier than that, but that's what it says, 1963. Anyway, an estimated 25 million hula hoops were sold just in the first 4 months of production. I know I sure had one. It was blue. Kind of got me to thinking the next time I go over to the Wally aisle to see if they still have any hula hoops. That's pretty good exercise if you can keep it up off the ground. March 5th, 1966, Staff Sergeant Barry Sadler hit #1 on the music charts with the Ballad of the Green Beret. Sadler was himself a Green Beret and suffered an injury in Vietnam that took him out of action, put him in the hospital for several months. While he recuperated, he wrote this song, and it found its way to the right people. He was able to record the song in late 1965. It sold over 1 million copies and became Billboard magazine's #1 single for all of 1966. There is a link in the show notes if you'd like to listen to it. On March 5th, 1969, the Doors lead singer Jim Morrison was charged with drunkenness and a variety of public decency violations alleged to have occurred during a show they'd done in Miami a few days earlier. Interestingly, they offered him a plea bargain wherein the Doors would play a free concert in Miami, but he turned that offer down, taking his chances with the trial. Unfortunately, he was convicted, but he died in Paris before he could serve his sentence. In 2010, the state of Florida issued the late Jim Morrison a posthumous pardon. And I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. Remember that links to my research are in the show notes below. Give it a like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. And feel free to share this video with others. You can do that with a link in your email or a message or on Facebook. While you're here, check out my other channel, 8 Susquehanna. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. My day in history. So many mistakes. Say that again. I'm gonna have to look that up right quick. We're not gonna go into all that, okay? I don't know how all that's gonna go together, or if it's even gonna make it to the video. We'll just see. That's not gonna go. Probably cut all that out. That'll all be laying on the cutting room floor. So I'll just do that whole thing over. That might not make it into the video, we'll see. Changing it up.